I'm sure you will agree with me if I say that the three readings are a mixture, a mismatch of positive and negative, something encouraging, something faintly discouraging. That is what life is, so welcome to the world. We don't have a perfect world. We don't have a perfect country. And definitely you don't have perfect families. You don't have perfect parents and grandparents, as the case may be. And neither do you have perfect children. There are good things, bad things, and goodness, and that is the good news for today, thrives despite evil. And evil thrives even in the midst of goodness. That's the other side of the coin. But be that as it may, the first reading is encouraging. It says, "There is no God besides you who have the care of all." That's the book of wisdom, the Song of Solomon. This book of wisdom talks about important things that we need to live by. We need to remember them not only as aphorisms, but as a way to fullness of life. No God besides you who have the care of all. God lets His sun shine on all, the evil and the good alike. And God naghahasik ng binhi na mabuti para sa lahat, sa daanan, sa dawagan, at sa tinikan. Yan ang ebanghelyo natin ng isang linggo. God is a generous God, and the generosity of Him, everything He gives is good. But then the reality is that in the gospel, the reality is that there is evil in the world. Meron kayong mga salbahing kapitbahay, merong mapagkimkim, merong mapagkamkam, merong gustong ibalik ang imperyo ng Soviet Union, at merong minamaliit ang mga little Russians with an accent called the Ukrainians. And there are those who think that Taiwan has no right to exist. And the Philippines, we're a tiny country, we have no right to exist. Philippine Sea is non-existent. It's all about China Sea, the south of China, the South China Sea, and nothing else besides. Evil thrives in the midst of goodness, but goodness triumphs even in the midst of evil. And this is what we're going to develop today. In the second reading, something very good, magnanimous of God, is reminded us, and that comes from Paul's letter. He says, "The Spirit comes to the aid of our weakness." Nanlulupaypay tayo, wala tayong kakayanan. Hindi natin alam kung anong hihingin sa Diyos. There are times in your life you don't know what to ask God for. You are sick, you've been healthy for decades, and then all of a sudden you wake up one fine morning at the wrong side of the bed, and your blood sugar shoots up through the ceiling, and you have cancer that you never expected. And then you have this faulty theology that if something evil happens to you, it's because of your forefathers, yung kasalanan ng lolo mo. That's faulty theology. At ang kasalanan ng mga ninuno mo, kasalanan ng mga angkan mo sa Pampanga, sa Cavite, sa Bataan, wherever, o sa Metro Manila. The Spirit comes to us to the aid of our weakness. I love the word that St. Paul used. He sighs, he prays for us in sighs and groans that words cannot express. When you are happy, you cannot utter a single thing. You just sigh. You just cry. There are tears rather, not of sorrow, but of joy. You cannot describe it, and so you just cry. You just sigh. You just groan. When you do not know what to ask God for, then the Spirit prays for us in sighs and groans that words cannot express. What beautiful, encouraging words we have today. But then, we're back to reality. The kingdom of heaven may be likened to a man who sowed good seed in his field. Walang masamang tinapay ang Diyos. Ang kanyang inihahasik ay magandang butil. Pero ang tumatanggap ay pwedeng tinikan, dawagan o daanan. Pwedeng mapagkimkim, mapagkamkam, swapang, duhapang. Pwedeng makasarili, pwedeng hindi nagmamamansin ng iba, at pwedeng minamaliit ang ibang tao. I don't know whether you know Marie Kondo. Marie Kondo became very famous about, 15 to 20 years ago. Si KonMari method, ang KonMari method, nag-imbento siya ng paraan para tanggalin ang dumi. Ang kalat, yung salitang kalat, iba nakahulugan sa mga digital natives, kaya medyo nahihiya akong gamitin ang salitang kalat. Iba ibig sabihin nila. Marami ng salita na iba na ibig sabihin, friend, unlike, iba na ibig sabihin yan. At saka yung in a relationship, ano ibig sabihin ng in a relationship? Yung fubu, I cannot mention that in public. This is being recorded, so I cannot mention that in public. But digital natives would know what that is. Anyway, Marie Kondo from Japan became very popular at 19 years old. Kanyang tinuro sa mundo paano tanggalin ang kalat. Ganyan tayo, obsessive-compulsive. Pagka may problema, ang America linear thinker, pagka may problem, let's make a budget. So when there was the Vietnam problem and the spread of communism, the specter of the spread of communism, what did America do? They made a budget. And they think that by making a budget, they will solve the problem. Linear thinkers. Like as if B follows A and C follows B. And that's linear. But the reality of us as human beings is that, as they say in Facebook, it's complicated. I don't know what they mean by that. It's complicated. In a relationship, but it's complicated. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Itong si Marie, tinuruan tayong tanggalin ang kalat, lutasin ang lahat ng problema. Pero at a certain point, she had a nervous breakdown. She couldn't go further. Why? She realized that she was compelled, obsessively, compulsively, pushed to look for what to throw away. Sa buhay natin, ang hinahanap natin ay hindi ang itatapon, kundi ano ang ating itatago, itatabi, pahahalagahan. In Christian life, it is not based on what you need to throw away. It's what you need to hold on. The basic essentials of life with God, the basic essentials of a relationship that is not a relationship that is connected and wired 24/7 through TikTok. Pati pala yung E80, merong artistang Nigerian na ang galing magtagalog. That's another story. We are obsessed with order, with tidiness, what to throw away, not what to keep. And then we realized, as Marie Kondo realized at some point, that we need to learn to keep only what brings joy. I forgot the Japanese word that she used, and literally it means what brings a spark, what gives a flutter in our heart, what palpitates the heart. Ano yung nagpapatibok sa puso natin, ano ang nagpapasaya sa atin. Yun ang dapat natin itago. Ngayon, given the reality of the three readings, the good news and the bad news, I'd like to himayin ng konti ano itong ating bad news, ang kinalaman sa buhay natin. Una, we do not like weeds. Whenever I've been to America so many times, and I lived in the Midwest, I lived in the city, Chicago. In the Midwest, they hate daffodils. No, not daffodils. Yung weeds, nakalimutan ko, it starts with a D. Never mind, I forget the names of weeds. They hate them. We are obsessed with weeds, and most of us do not like clutter. Kaya anong gagawin natin? Itapon ang lahat ng kalat. Tanggalin ang lahat ng basura. Ibig sabihin ng tanggalin, maghanap ng mapapagtambakan. Kaya yung garahe, ginagawang tambakan. Kaya walang garahe, nasa labas ng kalye ang kotse. Sa Amerika, ganun ang ginagawa eh. Ang garahe, punong-puno ng toilet paper na binili sa SNR, katumbas ng SNR. I forget names. Punong-puno ng toilet paper ang mga garahe. Ang kotse nasa arawan, nasa ulanan. That is what we mean. We do not want clutter, so we hide the clutter. Number 2, we were taught to defend ourselves against foreign bodies. In science, in the elementary years, we were told that sickness meant that foreign bodies invaded our system that needs to be fought by white cells, white blood cells, and our antibodies. So we don't want foreign bodies. So the whole world doesn't want immigrants. The whole world doesn't want other people. Many years ago, we were driving through redneck territory, yung mga probinsya ng Pennsylvania, ng Montana, and it was dead at night, middle of the night. We ran out of gas, and so we pulled into a gasoline station. The people came out because they were happy to serve us until they saw that we were brown-colored. And so nung nakitang kami mga pandak at kulay brown, no gas. We don't want foreign bodies. We don't want foreigners. We don't want immigrants. We don't want, the Japanese called it kaijin, yung mga kaijin. You can never be a Japanese. You can live in Japan but never will become Japanese. You're still a kaijin. In Thailand, they call them farang. All the kaijin, all the farang, all the banyaga, they're different, they're weeds. Masamang damo. So, what does society now do with weeds? Ethnic cleansing. This is what Putin does with Ukraine. He doesn't want the Ukrainians to live, the Ukrainians to live. He wants them out. He wants them gone. He wants them gone. Because they don't deserve to be a country. They're just little Russians. Or Russians with an accent. Taiwan has no right to be Taiwan. They are just Chinese. It's a Chinese province. Who gave them the right to pull out the weeds? In the story we have today, Lord, sisintensya na ba natin, Panginoon, Master? Sisintensya na ba natin? Bubunutin ko na ba? Ano ang sabi ng Master of the house? No. If you pull up the weeds, you might uproot the wheat along with them. Hayaan mo. Hayaan mo. Let them be. Leave them alone. Why? Walang masamang tinapay sa Diyos. Walang negro, walang puti, walang pandak, walang matangkad. We are all human beings created in the image and likeness of God. And therefore, to call people kaijin, farang, or banyaga, or weeds, and to cleanse them ethnically and kill them, killing them softly, one caliber missile at a time, is really not what Christianity preaches. Today, I'll tell you another story. I'm not a sommelier. A sommelier is a wine expert, okay? But I am a wine connoisseur. I enjoy wine, good wine. I know what good wine is. And once one of my cousins in California got married, and I was, of course, invited. And her husband was an American who has traveled all over Europe. And she brought a nice, perfect bottle of wine called Barolo. You Google it. Barolo is a very good wine. It's very expensive. And so he opened the bottle and he called his friends, not me, because I am brown, I don't understand anything about wine. So everybody of them was toasting, ciao, chin chin, except me, because he thought I didn't understand anything about wine. I'm a farang, I'm a kajin, I'm a weed. I didn't matter. This is not the message of the Christian Gospels. Number 3 lesson, we make quick solutions to every problem. Pagka nasintahan natin, bunutin lahat. Carpet bombing. The term in Italian is nice. Borbandamento a tappeto. Carpet. Carpet bombing, quick solutions, patayin ang mga drug pushers, except that yung mga pinapatay nung araw, ay yung mga bata lamang at mahihirap. Yung mga mayayaman na malalaki ang bahay na drug pusher, hindi naman namamatay eh. Except one, yung taga-Albuera Leyte. But he was killed in prison, not by government authorities. We like quick solutions to every problem. We want to weed out, we want to pull out. Hold it. Hold your fire. Walang masamang tinapay sa Diyos. Hayaan nating lumaki. At pag lumaki, saka natin siyasatin, saka natin kilatisin at paghiwa-hiwalayin. Evil thrives in the midst of goodness, and that is the reality of our lives. Wars, people who are makasarili, corrupt politicians, corrupt clergy, corrupt individuals. Evil thrives in the midst of goodness, despite goodness. But to thrive does not mean to triumph. And the good news for us today is that goodness develops in the midst of evil. God calls us to be patient. Maghintay tayo sandali ng konti. And God calls us to be patient even with ourselves. Why? Sino sa inyo hindi nawalan ng pasensya? Sino sa inyo hindi nakasala? Sino sa inyo hindi bugnutin? I am. Sino sa inyong hindi pasensyoso? Hindi ako pasensyoso. We are all there in that status. We are all sinners. And God is patient with you. God is patient with me. Leave them alone. Let them grow together. And then, saka na tayo magtuos sa tamang panahon